I-29. Female ruined my marriage with my husband, 30 male. How do I fix this? I don't even know where to begin. I-29 female have always been on the thicker side. Even from a young age, I was always filled out. I always liked the lean, slender look, but my genetics had other ideas. I always had big boobs. I've been hot and cold toward them at different points in my life. I got to the point where I had a G-cup. I thought about a breast reduction, but never did any real research. I've also been on the receiving end of a lot of staring. It feels like I couldn't just go outside my house without some guy trying to hit on me. 6 years ago, I met my husband, 30 male. I'm going to call him H. And I met through friends, and we immediately hit it off. He was tall, handsome, and funny as hell, but he was really sweet and caring. Early in our relationship, I was way less secure with my body and wanted to make sure that he liked how I looked. I asked H about his thoughts on if I should get a breast reduction. He told me that they couldn't make them any more perfect if they tried. I laughed but asked for a serious answer. He said that he would need to understand why I wanted one. I told him that it's not like they hurt me or anything. I was fortunate. He told me that I was beautiful and that he loved my body as much as he loved me. But if I didn't love my body as much as him, then he would suggest therapy. I was happy that he found me to be attractive. I took my small victory and moved on. H and I dated for 3 years before he popped the question on my favorite hiking trail. It was perfect. We got married in winter 2021. Around a year ago, I guess I had a small bout of depression. To H's credit, he was on it. He knew something was wrong, but I didn't really even know myself, so I just told him that nothing was wrong. He would take time to listen to me talk. He would take me out on dates and just make sure he knew that he cared about me. I appreciated that from him. I would reassure him that nothing was wrong, but I think he knew. One day, I was looking at the wedding photos, and I just hated how I looked at that moment. I looked at my chest and felt like I looked very over-sexualized and trashy. I cried. All the thoughts of having that lean, slender look came back, and I started researching breast reduction. I found a doctor that wasn't too far from my job. I called and made an appointment. The consult went well. I made a follow-up appointment to go over some more details. We decided that I was a good candidate for surgery, and I went home. Eventually, I got the call and scheduled it for a few weeks later. During the weeks leading up to the date, I got a call that my insurance wouldn't cover the procedure. This gave me pause, but I knew that I had savings that could cover the cost. Unfortunately, this was supposed to be used for a new house for H and myself, since we lived in his house. I felt bad because throughout this entire process, I didn't tell H about any of this. I knew he would tell me that I was beautiful and that I shouldn't spend the money on this. But to be honest, I didn't want to hear any of that. He has a habit of trying to fix everything. I had my mind made up that I was going to get the reduction, and I would be happier for it. But I didn't tell him for so long that I felt like I couldn't say anything at this point. 1 week out from the surgery, I was sitting in bed one day, and he hops in bed and tells me that he would like to go over the meal plan for the next week, something we do every week. I froze because I knew that next week was going to look very different than usual. I told him that I had to tell him something. I told him that I was getting a breast reduction. He stopped for a split second and just laughed. I told him that I wasn't joking and that I was serious. He started asking me questions, and after 5 minutes or so, he realized that I was being serious. He looked shocked. He asked why I kept this from him for so long. I told him that I didn't want him to tell me that I was perfect and beautiful. I felt ugly and told him that it felt invalidating when he contradicted that. He told me that he tells me that because he loves me and he doesn't want me to feel bad about myself. He asked how long I knew, and I told him the truth. I told him that I knew for 4 months that I was getting the surgery. He just sat there looking at me. When I asked him what he was thinking, he said that he didn't know what to say. He just got up, gave me a hug, and told me that he loved me, but we needed to have a long talk after I healed up. The next week was a blur between the surgery drugs and the pain meds. The first few days were very bad pain-wise, but after that I mostly just felt drained. I would look at my chest and I only felt nervous. I had this fear that deep down I wouldn't like how I looked and would hate my chest. H was a rock during this. He always made sure to tell me that I was beautiful and that he loved me. He also made sure I ate, and he took care of the cooking and cleaning. He made sure I took my meds on time. He even changed his work schedule so that he would be at home when I was awake, and paid his brother to stay at the house during the night in case I needed anything. But the big one was that he changed my dressings and cleaned me. H has a thing with scars. He absolutely has no stomach for them. He will even turn his head away whenever I watch those medical shows on TV. A few years ago, he had knee surgery, nothing major, but he needed stitches. He couldn't stand to look at them. I knew that he had an issue with scars, stitches, but I thought that he would be fine until we had sex for the first time. We usually have a good mix of positions during sex, but it seemed like he would only put me in dog style or reverse girl. I knew we were in trouble the first time I turned around, and I could feel him go soft. Like as soon as he saw my chest, he was out. He claimed that he came, but I didn't think that was the case. I also noticed that he didn't initiate after the surgery, something that he did regularly. I felt like he did want to look at me, but I was determined to make him rip the Band-Aid off. He would ask for other positions, but I felt like he was telling me to turn away from him. I felt ugly. The worst part was that he wouldn't just tell me that he didn't like my chest. I couldn't fix anything because he wouldn't even tell me what the issue was. Once I initiated, he asked if I could wear a shirt. I felt like he was trying to cover me up. The next day, we sat and talked. He asked if I would be okay with wearing a corset or a sexy bra. I asked him if he liked my chest. I kind of danced around the question, which is extremely unlike him. He said that he just couldn't look at my scars. I told him that he needed to get over it. He said that he didn't, and that he had no obligation to have sex with me. I was so hurt at that moment that I told him that a real husband wouldn't have an issue with a few scars. He just looked at me, and he looked hurt. I knew that would hurt him, and I said it anyway. I think that was the start of the end for us. A week or so goes by, and we are back to just awkward. I started to initiate, and he turned off the light and started reciprocating. In the moment, I knew that this was weird. He is extremely visual, opting for lights on or blinds open. I knew he was making the room dark, and in that moment, I just started crying. He asked what was wrong, and I told him that I knew that he thought that I was ugly. He sat up and we argued. He said that he was trying for me, but nothing was good enough. I told him that I was sensitive, and that him asking me to put a shirt on and turning off the lights made me second guess if I was pretty or not. He got mad the first time in all this. He said that I made the conscious decision to get this done without his input, so I shouldn't need his validation. I just got up and left the room. I didn't want to talk to him and just wanted to curl up and cry. In the morning we sat down and he told me that he has boundaries, and the only way for this to work is for me to respect his boundaries. I told him that if I did so, I would be allowing him to make me feel ugly. He said that he needed time, which is bullshit because I feel like if he loved me, he wouldn't need to adjust to me. I said that wouldn't work for me, so he said that he was taking sex off of the table until we could come to a compromise. I thought he wasn't serious until I tried that night, and he just got out of bed. I asked why he was doing this, and he said that actions have consequences. After that night, I didn't want to talk to him. He would try and talk to me, but I wasn't even in the headspace to speak to him. Unfortunately, I felt like I couldn't go to work because I wasn't in the headspace to go. I ran out of PTO, and my boss told me that I couldn't retroactively apply for FMLA. He told me that I needed to report the next day or I was terminated. I told him that I wouldn't be there, and he fired me. During the last week I have cried so much. This didn't turn out how it was supposed to at all. I thought I was going to be happy. But in all honesty, I've never felt worse. I feel like I took a part of myself that was pretty and got rid of it because I thought it would make me happy. I never had one of those moments I see the TikTok girls have where they try on a shirt before and after their surgery, and they are so happy. Now my shirts still look bad, and on top of that, I don't have a chest. I just look at my chest and cry. I see the scars and think about how small I am now. I was staying in the guest bedroom when one of my girlfriends sent me a link to a Reddit post. Instantly, I knew it was H. He even brought up divorce. I didn't realize things were so rocky that he was thinking of divorce. I didn't know what to do. I still don't know what to do. I went upstairs and started reading the post. H was staring through me at this point, and then he told me that it was his post. I just cried so hard. He didn't even hug me or anything. He just sat in his chair and looked at the floor. I read through the comments and kept seeing over and over that he only liked me for my boobs, so I asked if that was true. He looked pissed but never yelled. He told me that he doesn't feel like I can make good decisions on my own. I felt like he thought I was a child. I told him that I thought I made a mistake getting this done. He said that's why he questions my decision-making ability. I even asked if he would want me to get implants to get my size back. He told me that it's not even about that anymore and told me to please stop getting surgeries done unless a doctor tells me to. I feel like I don't have any dignity anymore. I never would have thought about getting implants a year ago, but now I'm seriously considering it. I don't want to get a divorce. I love H so much, but I feel like he's done with me. I feel like we are too far off the rails to get back on anymore. He was the greatest thing to happen to me, and now he doesn't want anything to do with me. I asked him if he was still going to divorce me, and he told me that he didn't know, but I should get my affairs in order. I just want to know, has anybody come back from something like this? How do I convince him that I can be trusted to make good decisions? Be sure to like and subscribe, as it helps the channel to grow. Comment what you think about the situation below. Thanks for watching.